Here now with reaction, Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz is with us. He wrote the introduction to the Constitution and will write an introduction to the Mueller report when it is released. That's news. And also the author of Liars, Leakers, Liberals, #1 bestseller, the host of Justice, Judge Jeanine Pirro. I didn't know that, Professor. Number one, how did that come about? More importantly, you know, show me the crime, I'll show you the man. 8 committees. They don't even have anything specific they're looking at. You have talked about criminalizing political differences. This is worse than I've ever seen it.
Well, it's not worse than I've ever seen it. I lived through McCarthy period when Congress misused
McCarthyism.
Its oversight function to go after people, some innocent, some guilty. Look, Congress has a legitimate oversight function to perform, but it has to make sure it doesn't go too far. It can't use that oversight function, which is really designed to help get legislation in order to really prevent a president from finishing out his terms and acting, and they're interfering with the executive branch if they do so. A balance has to be struck between the legitimate function of Congress to investigate. The framers didn't intend for Congress to become yet another prosecutorial branch, yet another investigative branch. They're supposed to pass laws, and so it seems to me these investigations look like they're going too far.
Are you or have you ever been a supporter of Donald Trump? There is no reason to initiate 8 committees, the widest net I've ever seen, because it appears they're not getting Robert Mueller, the big promise of Robert Mueller that they've been pushing for 2 years.
Well, you know, Sean, they're already setting that up. I mean, Nadler has pretty much said, we don't care what Mueller is going to say. We're going to do our own investigation. Look, the bottom line is that this committee does have the right to look at a lot of things, but it's going to backfire because the American people understand that the economy is doing well, that they've got jobs, and on and on. And these Dems have been having a hissy fit since Hillary lost her crown. They boycotted the inauguration. Then they wanted to impeach him. Then they brought in a special counsel and alleged collusion. Now they've got committees that will, for the next 2 years, do nothing but investigate and aggravate Donald Trump and everyone close to him, Sean, in an attempt to alienate him from the people who are closest to him. And here's the bottom line. Trump's numbers are 48% in polls and 93% among Republicans. Congress is at 13%. The American people get it. Congress should be doing its job and not doing nothing but trashing Donald Trump.
I know we have some political differences, Professor, but let's put them aside for a second. If this is their commitment for the next 2 years, rather than laying out an agenda for peace and safety and security and economic growth and prosperity for Americans, and they support this. You don't support this new Green Deal. You're too intelligent to support anything that insane. But 100 Democrats in Washington do. Then they're going to spend all the rest of their time, you know, looking for a crime and wasting all the time doing that. I don't think this is a good thing politically for Democrats.
No, I don't either. And in fact, there is some legal recourse. If you go back to the cases in the 1950s, the courts sometimes did say, look, Congress, you've gone too far. This is not within your legitimate function. And so if I were one of the people who got a letter or a subpoena, I would at least think about the possibility of bringing a lawsuit and suggesting that Congress is abusing its oversight function. As far as the environment is concerned, I'm a strong supporter of the environment, but we need a balanced environmental concerns.
We can't get rid of oil and airplanes and cows. We need cows. I like to eat steak.
Obviously, that's true.
I'll buy you a steak, Professor. Last word.
And look, what they are looking to do with this Green New Deal is they want to control what you eat. And, you know, we're getting bits and pieces out of it. We know they want to take planes out of the sky, that we have to rebuild our homes. But when AOC said last week, at the end of the week, she said, look, I'm not saying everyone has to be a vegan, but you don't need to eat hamburgers 3 times a day, folks. Let's get real. They want to control everything that we do. And I find it shocking that they say that they need to investigate the president, not for a crime, but for anything. And as prosecutors, we learned you investigate a crime, not a man.